Break free from your local area and unleash the power of virtual wholesaling. We'll reveal why the best deals are not in your backyard and how to make money today, anywhere in the country. Join us as we interview top investors, reveal their best secrets, and turn them into actionable steps so you can duplicate their success and do deals right now. You're listening to Virtual Wholesaling Made Simple, your key to unlocking fortunes and freedom in wholesaling.
What's going on, everybody? This is Chris Logan, host of the Virtual Wholesaling Made Simple podcast. I am super excited to be here today because we have a special guest, a guest inside our Virtual Wholesaling Made Simple community. And today she is going to be sharing her journey getting started in wholesaling, some of the obstacles that she's experienced along the way, and the victory that she had at the end. And then we're going to talk about her ongoing journey and just drop some nuggets of value with tips that you guys can take right now, today, implement, and see results immediately. So Amber, welcome to the Virtual Wholesaling Made Simple podcast.
Thank you, Chris. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Yeah. So we're going to dive into some cool stuff today. So would you mind just sharing with our listeners here just a little bit about your background and how you found wholesaling?
I knew I wanted to get into real estate somehow. I just didn't know quite how. My partner has dove into some commercial stuff and been very successful with it. And I guess it's been almost 2 years now. I've built a duplex, bought a piece of property. I'm in Montana, so property, if you can find it cheap, it goes quick. So I purchased a piece of property and built a duplex from the ground up. But that wasn't going to get me to where I needed to be fast enough. So I kind of looked at doing some real estate investing, went through some mentorships that just wasn't the right fit. And then I stumbled upon Virtual Wholesaling Made Simple with Chris Logan, and I signed up, and the rest is history. It's been great.
Love that. I love it. And I love one of the things I love most about you is how humble you are, right? And you're also very coachable. But one of the things that you just breezed over, I just built a duplex, no big deal, right? Most people listening are like, oh my God, you built a duplex. That's amazing, right? So, but it sounds like what you were looking for is, on top of building the duplex, you were looking to kind of step outside of your market in Montana. Montana's pretty rural, right?
Very rural, and it's really, really hard here. I mean, it's a very sought after state. Everybody wants to live here. The population is low. The housing market, there isn't enough. So it's really, I'm sure it is doable here, but probably not wholesaling. And I kind of started from scratch. I've been in W-2 jobs my whole life. I've owned my own business before, but I needed to start from ground zero and build my cash flow. And I knew I wanted to do wholesaling. I just was not getting the right coaching until I signed up with you. And everybody kept telling me, oh, you can do it in Montana. I just disagree with that. So I was like, I need to find the right fit. So here we are.
No, absolutely. And, aside from a lot of the rules and regulations in wholesaling that are changing from state to state, Montana, like you had talked about, is a little bit more of a rural area. And I loved how you hit on the population there, because that's something we really hammer with our coaching clients and anybody that's coming into our world in Virtual Wholesaling Made Simple. The areas that you guys want to focus on, we have a 2-step simple process for selecting that. And that is an area that has a minimum population of 250,000 people. And the second thing we look for is a median home price minimum of 200,000. So if you're picturing houses on a timeline, the cheapest houses on the left, like the 50K and less houses, and the multi-million-dollar houses on the right, or the, $700,000 and higher house on the right. The median home price in the middle. You can look on Google. You can find that, what it is for your area, and you want to make sure it's a minimum of 200,000. So in a lot of the rural areas across the country, it can be no problem to find sellers, right? Get deals under contract. But when it comes to, finding buyers in these areas, and I think this is one of the big things that you shared with me, your concern was being able to find buyers who would buy enough deals to allow you to do enough wholesale deals consistently in Montana, right?
For sure. I definitely want to try and do later on, after I get some footing underneath me to do more buy and holds and stuff like that. And I'd probably do it in my own backyard, but it's just like, I mean, we have 250,000 people as a quarter of the state. So, I mean, it's, pretty rural.
Love that. Okay. So let me ask you, so you were on a wholesaling journey before, and before you were trying to do it locally, right? So what were some challenges that you saw when you were trying to wholesale houses locally there in Montana?
We don't have an REI network, so we have no way to network with people. Real estate agents here are it's a dog eat dog world out there as far as real estate goes. And I don't think the concept of real estate investing is very known here. So people aren't very open-minded. They don't know about it. So it's just not, they all just think we're sharks, basically. And so I mean, and I've even done looked at lists of foreclosure lists, and there's only 422 in the whole entire state. So, I mean, that's a pretty small list to be calling.
No, absolutely. Yeah. That's a great point you pointed out there too, because in smaller areas, it really limits your reach. That you can have when you're trying to get in touch with enough sellers, because it is a numbers game, right? You have to reach enough sellers to be able to do enough deals, to be able to reach the income level that you want, and maybe even kick the 9 to 5 eventually, if that's what you're looking to do, right? So, so I totally get that. So you were looking to step outside because it would give you a little bit more reach, but you just didn't really know how to do it. So what led you to Virtual Wholesaling Made Simple? Can you share with our audience here maybe how you found me? You don't have to mention the specific groups that you found me through, but you could just, share with the audience how you found me and what really attracted you to the idea of wholesaling houses from home.
Well, I knew that's what I needed to do because I needed to have a market that was larger, but I can't because I couldn't do it from here. And so I'm not really interested in relocating yet. I wouldn't mind having a house where I do my virtual wholesaling one day, but I just needed to be where the people and the call for it and the need and all of that was at. And so I knew from the beginning that's exactly what I was going to have to do, because Montana just isn't got the population or the supply of houses. So it was just finding, I have joined some other mentorships, and they don't start you out. This is the first step you need to take. And I'm very systematic, and I needed that. This is the first step you take. This is the next step. And that's exactly what your program does. And I mean, that's so what I needed. So that's why I'm happy to be here. And I was on Facebook, of course, and that's kind of how I found you, through another Facebook group who you were on, and watched some podcasts and live shows that you've done there. And so, that's how I found you.
Very cool. I love that. And what's really neat is, and what I love about you, Amber, is that there's a lot of people who reach a problem and they dig their heels in the ground and they're like, I'm stuck. There's nothing I can do. And this is where I'm going to be. Maybe it's just not meant for me. Right. And those people have a very hard time creating an income in real estate. What I love about you is that you had a problem. Right? You acknowledge that you had a problem, right? There comes the coachability and the humility side, right? And you're like, you know what? I need to go out and find a solution because I don't have the solution. I don't know what to do, right? And so we came across each other through some live content I was doing in other groups, and I'm glad we came in touch with each other. And the other thing that you said that I really loved was how, the reason that you had a trouble doing deals before, right, was because other coaching and mentorship programs that are out there, there's a big reason, guys, why people don't have success. And it's because you go to these weekend seminar type companies, right? And not knocking any company that you were with before, that you had before, but there's a lot of companies, and I've been a part of this in my beginning part of my journey, right? Where I would go to these 2 and 3 day seminars, right? They would say, here's 15 different ways you can make money in real estate, and go. And at that point, you're so excited, you sign up and you're like, I'm going to be in real estate and be a real estate investor. Then after the excitement wears off, you're sitting there thinking, shoot, I have 15 different ways to get started in real estate here. Which one do I want to do and why? And then you have all these other, limiting beliefs along the way. That's like, okay, well, if I do this one, then that's going to hold me back from X, Y, and Z. So there's a lot of muck out there, right? So what we do is we really simplify it down, bring it down to something that's doable, actionable, and keep you focused on one thing. I actually got this book right here. I know that you've read this, The One Thing.
Yep, right? It's a great book.
Yeah, and this book helps you focus on one thing, one path to success. You can run in one direction, and when you do that, it's so much easier to have success, and you get there so much faster. So I love that. So let me ask you. So you saw my content and posted all that. What was that defining moment where you're like, you know what, I'm going to do this. Like, this is something that makes sense for me, and I'm going to do it because this is what I need.
From the beginning, since I started this journey, I have had this overwhelming feeling that I just need to keep pushing forward, that I'm going to figure it out. And, so that's what led me to do that. I mean, I know, and I've been like, okay, this is my last dollar. I can't do, anymore. So, I mean, I've been there, and I mean, still kind of there, and, I just felt that I needed to do this, and this was the right fit. And I mean, the other mentorships that I joined, people have been successful in them. It just was not the fit for me. And that's okay. Yeah. It can be very, very overwhelming when you first get started. And I just needed someone to say, this is what you're going to do next. This is what you're going to do next, instead of having all these choices, because when you're new and doing this, you have no idea. And I don't want to sit there and try and figure it out. I need somebody to just get me to where I need to be. And then I can worry about changing or upgrading or doing something different when I know more.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. And honestly, I think that's one of the biggest things that's missing today. And, when a lot of people come to me and they ask me, what's the difference between virtual wholesaling made simple and other programs out there? I always like to relate it back to people like this. And this touches on your point, right? So remember back when you were in school, right? And there were certain classes that you did really well in, right? And there were certain classes that you hated, couldn't stand, right? More often than not, I find, because I was like a C student in high school, right? So more often than not, what I find is the classes that you did really well in, it was probably because of two things. Number one, you like the teacher. They taught in kind of a fun, engaging way. And the second thing is the way they taught allowed you to absorb the content much faster. And because you were able to absorb the content much faster, you could implement it and you could see results right away. And you felt like you were good at it, right? And because you felt like you were good at it and you were getting good grades in the class and everything like that, that made you say, hey, I love this class. This is great. And then you had those other classes like I had, where you'd have the teacher that's boring as a rock in front of the class, right? Hardly, just being very dry, giving you way too much information, and just, expecting you to have success and treating you like you're an alien if you don't have the success that everybody else has, right? So that's the journey that I went through. And that was something that I wanted to make sure that we put into place in our program, where we're making it easy, creating an environment that makes it easier for people to learn. So I love that. Love that.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think you and Heather are both very passionate about what you're teaching and what you're doing. And that makes a huge difference. And I needed a little hand holding along the way, and you never let me fall. And I so appreciate that, because I just needed that little confidence push every, time. And you guys totally delivered.
I love that. No, I love that. No, it's been a blessing having you in the group, and I appreciate the kind words there. So let's go ahead and talk about this deal that you've done, right? Because this is a really exciting thing for me. I love seeing people come in and get their first wholesale deal and just absolutely crush it on their first one. I mean, doesn't happen that way for everybody. Sometimes people come in and their first deal is like a $2,000 deal or $4,000 deal. But you were able to get a deal under contract. And I'd like you to really kind of dive in and share that whole process, where you got the lead, how the negotiations went with the seller, what you had to do to, secure a buyer for it, and then get that deal sold, right? But your deal that you were able to put on the board and close, netted you a $27,000 check, right? Wasn't it 27,000?
Yep.
That is amazing. I mean, I love that, right? That is insane, right? That is life-changing income for most people, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, that is just out of this world. So I love it. So let's talk about that deal. Can you give me a background of that deal, how you got the deal, and just kind of an overview of getting it closed?
So I got a lead and of course called him, and he didn't really sound interested, and he really didn't want to talk on the phone. And so I'm
Hang
like,
on one
okay,
second. Let's bump it back for a second. So you got a lead. So share with me where you got that lead from.
Okay, so this was off the list that we pulled with credit default list that we pulled with Peter. And
that's an amazing list.
Sorry. And, yeah, so got it off the credit default list and called him and talked to him about his home, got all the information on it. And this was when I was new. I wasn't, ran the comps on it, was pretty sure. I think I kind of ran it by you to make sure I was in the right ballpark. And I got him to agree on a price. And I, after that, he was didn't want to be on the phone. So we did everything over text messages, which is totally not what we're supposed to do. So I was like, I couldn't even believe that it actually happened. But, then I got it under contract. His why was that him and his wife were going through a divorce and they just needed to sell and get on with their lives and so on. And I had him sign the contract. He didn't return it right in the 24 hours. They kind of needed a little bit more time to think. The wife had some questions and stuff. And so I actually got on the phone with her, and she was super nice and realized everything that was going on. And so just wanted to be included. So got him to sign the contract. I got my property inspector over there, who is wonderful. She was on it. She went over, took pictures, got them uploaded to my Dropbox. And as soon as I got those, I put a little thing together, which I decided that I don't really need to do that. I could just put it on. I need to follow the coaching and just put my stuff in the little Facebook groups, and ended up securing a buyer. I put it out there and it didn't take too much traction. People were saying, and I actually had one buyer, he must have thought he was texting his colleague, but he texted me and said, her numbers look good, but it's really tight in there, and there's not a lot of profit. And so he accidentally texted me that, and I was like, okay, so I know I'm not too far off. So if he's saying that, and so
he probably looked down at his phone and was like, shoot.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was like, I know the numbers are pretty tight there, sorry, but anyway, it wasn't getting traction, wasn't getting responses like I thought it was going to. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to have to drop the price. So I dropped the price a little bit, and it still wasn't. So I decided to go back to the seller, and I had contacted you and asked you, what should I do here? And you said that, well, we can try and sell it for you, or you can go back and renegotiate to the seller. And I was like, I could take the easy way out, but I need to learn this process, and I need to know that this is going to happen, because not all the numbers are always concrete, and whatever I come up with an ARV may be a little different than somebody else. So I'm like, okay, I got to do this. So I called the sellers back and renegotiated, and they accepted my price. I went back to my buyers list who were serious and were really close to where I needed to be. And I ended up securing a buyer off of one of the Facebook groups. So, that worked out great. And she was happy with it. And then there was another little hiccup in it, is that the sellers, the woman that was in it had kids, and her apartment wasn't going to be ready until June 18th or something like that. And we could have waited to close, no problem, but I was leaving to go out of country. And so I just kind of wanted to get it all done and wrapped up, so I wasn't stressed out about it being my first deal and everything. And so the buyer agreed to close on June 7th and then allow the seller to stay in there until the June 19th. So give her a day to move out. And everything worked out great. And the seller or the buyer moved out when they were supposed to, and the seller gained access to the property just as she had asked. And it was, that part went smooth. And then, yeah, so.
And then you got your check and took a nice European vacation.
Now, this was planned 2 years before this whole deal went down, but it was timing.
I saw that you got that check, and then you're like automatically going to Europe. I'm like, I love it. No, that's great. No, that's fantastic. So, so let's break down a few more things from that, because there was a lot in there, and I want to make sure that if someone's brand new listening to this, they know exactly what went down. And it was just world class and amazing how you handled that. So the first thing you did is you pulled a list of homeowners that are motivated homeowners, and we provided the name of the list in our coaching group, right? And then from there, you got phone numbers for that list. So you skip trace that using some of the resources we have, and we'll post some of these resources below this video. And then that allowed you to get phone numbers, and then you had that list uploaded to a dialer, right? To where you have a cold caller that was calling on that list, right? So we have a cold calling service. You have a cold caller that was calling on that list.
Yep,
and then he submitted that lead.
Cold callers. Yep.
Right. So you had 2 part-time cold callers, and they were calling on that list, kind of combing through the dirt to find the gold. And they came across this seller, right, who was going through a divorce. From there, you took a look at the lead and you valued the property, right? So that's when Amber said comps. She valued the property. She found 3 similar sold properties that were like her property, but they were fully remodeled. So she could get the after repair value of the property she was going to make an offer on, right? So from that point, she made an offer to the seller, then realized, guess what? There's another decision maker. And she was proactive, got on the phone with the other decision maker, which is the wife, and came to an agreement on price. And what a lot of people do, and where you overcame this, and I love this, a lot of people, what they'll do is they throw a property out there, they don't get feedback from buyers, or people don't reach out to them about the deal, and they're like, man, I guess it's just not a deal, and they'll cancel the deal, right? But you're like, no, this is a deal. You know, Chris said it's a deal, so it's a deal, right? So you went ahead and you reduced the price a little bit. How much did you reduce the price?
I think it was 20,000.
Okay, so you reduced the price by 20,000 because you put the property out there and thought it was a super sweet deal, right? But you ended up realizing, okay, I put the deal out there. Maybe I overshot this one a little bit on price. That's okay. I can get it adjusted. You made the adjustment, right? And then from there, you were able to secure a buyer and get it closed. So that is amazing. So nice job. Congratulations. That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
I'm going to hit another one of these because, you know, that's just amazing. There were so many things that happened in there where you reach obstacles, but you're like, you know, I'm not going to let these obstacles stop me. There has to be a way, and let's find a way.
Yeah, there's always a way.
Yeah. Awesome. So, so what would you say to someone who is, who's maybe reached obstacles along their journey and just haven't been able to get the traction that they've been looking for, right? Like maybe they haven't gotten their first deal yet, or maybe they've reached a lot of those obstacles that you came across, but weren't able to pull them off. You know, what would you say is some tips that you can provide to them that can help them get over those obstacles and just continue on the journey?
It really is a mind game. I mean, mindset is everything in this business. I mean, I remember sitting there getting ready to make a cold call and just like, it was like life debilitating to me. Like I could not get myself to dial the number. And I mean, I had to overcome that fear, and I had to get on the phone and talk to people. And everybody that I have talked to has been so nice. And I mean, I've ran into maybe one person that got mad, but it was partly my fault, and I took ownership of it. I mean, they can only take what you allow them to take away from you. So people are great. You You just got to give them a chance and overcome your own fears. And definitely, I mean, whatever you can do to build your mindset, reading a book, praying about it, whatever your thing is, do it, because it's so worth it once you get over that hump. And you have to have the right coaching too, because if I didn't have you and Heather, I mean, I probably still would be trying to dial that number.
I love it. And what's amazing about that is someone might be listening to this and they might be saying, "Oh, well, Amber, of course, it's easy for you. You have these natural skills and everything like that." But one of the things, and I hope you don't mind me sharing this, I think the exact phrase that you shared with me was deathly afraid of making calls.
Yes.
Right? And you went from being deathly afraid of making calls to getting a $27,000 deal. That is just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So
I've been in
long
customer service my entire life. Like, being on the phone, talking to people is what I do. And I just could not. So I don't care what super skills you have. It's not about that. It's just, I don't know. There's something about talking to people in their homes, and it's a little personal. And I have a hard time getting into people's business. But if you reframe yourself and just know that you're trying to help somebody. I mean, I wish I went through a divorce. I wish that I would have known about it. I mean, it would have saved a lot of headache for me.
Yeah.
So
that is amazing. And that servant mentality that you have of like, okay, I know that these sellers are going through really struggling times. I've been through some of the things they're going through. Heck, I've been through some things these sellers are going through, right? And when you focus on solving problems, right, money just happens, right?
Yeah.
If you focus on the money, then you won't get the money, right? But if you focus on solving problems and being a solution provider to these sellers, a lot of people say, wholesaling is oversaturated, but I totally disagree, because there's only 1% of wholesalers who are actually good wholesalers, people that actually care about people that care about providing a solution, people that follow through, they do what they say they're going to do, and they act like a professional, right? Because at the end of the day, these sellers are trusting us with probably the most valuable asset they're ever going to own in their entire life. Right. So that's a really big deal. So that's not something we can really take lightly. And having the confidence in yourself to say, I'm a solution provider, and it is a blessing for this seller to be talking to me right now because I'm the only one uniquely qualified to provide them a solution. I used to say back when I was coming up that, it's a massive mistake for a seller to move forward with someone else other than me, because they're not going to care like I do. They're not going to care about their situation. They're not going to handle the transaction the way that we would. And it's a very big mistake for them to do that. And that conviction comes across in how you talk to these sellers. So I love that you were able to find that conviction, make those calls. And now, so how do you feel about making calls now after you've done your first deal? Like, how do you feel about making calls now? Do you have a different, do you have a different outlook on it, or how's that changed your mindset now?
Totally different. I mean, you gain so much confidence when you can do a deal full circle. I mean, it's unreal. I mean, not that I'm an expert by any means, but I mean, I feel so much better. And like, when I was in it, I was just like in it. I wasn't even thinking. I was just like, I got to get this done. I got to get through it. And now I'm like, holy cow, how did I do that? But just do it. I mean, like you said, mass imperfect action, that's what you do. And once you've done it, you gain so much more knowledge and more confidence. And it's just getting that one deal, even 2 deals done. It's huge.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I love that. And a strategy that you use to get that deal done too is something that not a lot of people do. A lot of people think, oh, there's no real cash buyers in Facebook groups. Facebook groups is just a bunch of wholesalers in there. There's nothing real, like there's no one that's really going to buy your properties in there. Everybody's a waste of time. But clearly that's not the case, right? Like
not at all. There's a ton of people, and I still have people reaching out to me saying, hey, you gave me a deal, about a month ago. Do you got anything else? So they're still contacting me, which is great. I mean, I'm like, no, I was gone for a month and I'm trying to get back on track, but I'll have one for you soon. So
I love that. In the meantime, let me add you to my buyers list, right?
Yeah.
Very
And too,
cool.
Chris, I when I was building my buyers list, we had a sheet of people that we had replied to us, but a lot of those people don't reply to you. And I'm like, you know what? I need to sell this deal. I'm giving it to everybody. So every email that I found, and then once I gave that deal, I did notice that people then were like, hey, can you keep me on? Can you give me something else? And, so I mean, I don't know. I was just doing.
Massive, imperfect, immediate action, right? That's why we call it that, because in the beginning, when you're getting your first deal and even ongoing, people overthink things way too much, right? And I love how simple you just made it right there. You're like, I have a property and I have a list of buyers. I don't have a buyer for this property just yet, but I have a bunch of people that I can reach out to right now. Like, you focus not on what you couldn't control, having a buyer right then and there for your property, and you focused on what you could control, right? Which is taking action, reaching out to buyers, making connections. People forget this is a people business, right? Like, there's too much automation out there today, right? People are wanting to automate everything. And one of the things that you can't automate is, I don't care what anybody else says, you can't automate the personal connection with people and building those relationships. You got that deal. People started responding to you. They started being like, okay, so she's not just like every other wholesaler. She's got deals and I want to be on her list. You started adding them to your list. Fantastic. I love that. Now, quick question for you. How long did that deal take you from start to finish to do?
I think the first contact that I made to the seller was in April. Mid-April, I want to say. I don't remember the exact date on it, but mid-April, and yes, I think we got the contract and the price negotiated and everything in the contract signed by the beginning of May. And then then we had to renegotiate. I had the property inspector come in and take pictures and all that stuff. And, I had some showings on the house, and I was having a hard time getting appointments with the seller because they worked a lot and just were involved in a lot of stuff. And so to get people out there to look at it, potential buyers, I had to set up a couple appointments to have them come look. So that took a little bit longer than I had anticipated, but so maybe a month and a half.
Love that. So a lot of people make a big mistake, right? And that mistake is thinking that if a seller isn't willing to sell right then and there on the first phone call you make, then the leads aren't motivated, they're not good, and you're not going to do deals from those leads, and you have to hop to the next lead source, right? But the truth is, the fortune is made in the follow-up. Sellers are at multiple different stages of the selling process. The first point that they could be at is like they're completely unaware that they need to sell, or that selling is something they want to do. So they're unaware of the problem, right? So that's the first bucket of people that I come in contact with. And this is probably the coldest group of people you're going to talk to. Yeah. The second group of people are people that have some type of situation that's coming, right? Or maybe they have some type of life transition that's coming, but it's not super urgent just yet, right? So they're starting to do a little bit of research. They're thinking about selling, right? The next group of people, the third bucket of people, is the people that says, the problem's here. I do need to sell, but I'm still finishing up some research, but I'm at the stage at least where I can talk numbers on the property. And then the fourth bucket is people who say, hey, I'm ready to go right now. I'm a red hot and ready to go seller, and I just want to sell right now. So what can we do, right? So a lot of people think because they're not dealing with sellers in bucket number 4 all day long that they're not motivated, but it's not the case, right? Even if you're sending something like direct mail, right? You're not really going to expect to do consistent deals or get significant traction from that until your 7th mailer. There's sellers. I'll give you an example. There's a seller that I've been working with. Our team has been working with for the last, the last 2.5 years, we've been working with this one seller, right? We made an offer to the seller, got the property under contract 2.5 years ago, right? And the seller has just had legal issue after legal issue after legal issue with the property. There's been guardianships, there's been probates, there's been lots of liens, there's been crazy amounts of stuff, people going in and out of jail. It's been absolutely ridiculous. But the cool thing is, when the deal closes, and we actually just spoke with our attorney last week, and he said that we're finished with everything now. Now we're on the last guardianship or probate, which is going to take 30 to 60 days and we'll close. But the cool thing is we got it under contract for prices 2.5 years ago. So now we got to sell that thing. It's going to be an amazing deal. But the point is that you got to continue to follow up, got to stay sensitive to these seller situations, always come across as helpful, providing a solution, and just really don't discard the lead because you don't think it's good. Just continue to follow up and have your pipeline. That's why it's so important to have that pipeline. And so you did a really great job. All that long-winded response there was just a way to say you did a great job with that one. And that's amazing how you stayed on top of it.
Yeah, I did make a mistake though. I mean, like in the beginning, I was anybody that didn't want to sell, I got rid of that lead. And I am now going back and finding the ones that I did get rid of because like you said, you want to follow up with them. You never know. They could be in a different place in a couple of months. Yeah. And there's also another lady that I'm talking to who inherited a house and she wants to sell it, but she just right now she's going through some grieving and she can't let go of it right now. And maybe she said maybe next year, but she wants me to follow up with her once a month just to keep in contact. So it's truly, you truly do have to, be mindful of what they're going through and know that you care and that you want to help them.
Love that. And the difference between her moving forward with you versus someone else is going to be that follow-up, how she's going to think when it's time and she's ready to do it. Man, Amber respected my situation. She didn't try to high pressure close me, right? Yes. On the phone. She didn't try to like these car salesman tactics to get me to move forward. She just understood that I was grieving and I had a problem and she was there to provide a solution. There's no doubt in my mind that I'm going to move forward with Amber when all is said and done, right? And that's what it's really about. So, one of the things that we share with people is to take whatever time the seller tells you and cut it in half, right? So if they tell you to follow up with them in a year, follow up with them in 6 months. If they say 3 months, follow up with a month and a half and so on, right? But I love how she asked you to stay in contact with her each month because you never know. Life has a funny way of changing. Unexpected things happen all the time. And when it does, you want to be the person that they're thinking of. So I love that. Sure. Very, very cool. Good stuff. So let me ask you, what would you have to say about like advice for someone who might be considering our coaching program?
Sign up. It is the best thing I've ever done. You will not regret it. Do not even think about it. I mean, if you want a virtual wholesale and that is what you want to do and you want to learn about it, you guys are top notch. I mean, like there is no better program. I've seen multiple. I love that. And I've heard, I tell everybody I see about you. So I hope you get some more traction from that. But I can't thank you and Heather enough. I cannot say enough good things about the coaching program. I mean, that is huge. When you are first starting out, I hope that it never, ever changes because when you're first starting out, you are so scared and you are so overwhelmed by everything. You just need pointed in the right direction so you can take those imperfect steps and do those things and not think about it because you have somebody else thinking about it for you. And once you see it works, it's amazing. That is the best feeling in the whole world.
Love that. No, I appreciate the kind words. And that's been, and it's been amazing having the program. I love one of my favorite parts of this, right, is seeing people's personal journey that they take, going from, afraid of making calls to all of a sudden crushing it and closing 5-figure deals, right? So I love that. And it's been a pleasure to see your growth. And I just know that you have a ton more of opportunity coming your way, and this will be the first of many deals that you're going to be closing. So that's fantastic.
Right. And I'm going to be in this group forever, so you're stuck with me.
Love that. Yeah, no, that's amazing. No, we're happy to have you here. That's fantastic. So great stuff. Let me ask you, so any final thoughts you'd like to share about our program or just your journey or just any tips that you have for new people coming along? Any final tips you want to share?
Yeah. Sign up with Kristen, Heather, with Virtual Wholesaling Made Simple. You will not regret it. and never stop learning. Never. There is always things to learn, things you can do better, things you're helping people. So you want to make yourself that much better and have that much more knowledge to be able to reach and help more people. And never stop working on yourself, your mindset, because I have grown leaps and bounds in the last 12 months, and I can't thank this program enough for that, and everybody around me. And it's been huge, life-changing.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you again, Amber, for that. I appreciate it. And again, it's been a blessing to see your growth, and I look forward to, being with you on your journey. So good stuff. One final thing. So if someone wants to get in contact with you, right, and they want to just maybe ask you questions about the program or just follow you on social media, what's the best way for them to do that?
You can find me on Facebook, Amber Huggett. I'm on Instagram. I'm not super techie, so I don't know all about all that stuff. Sometimes messages get lost and I can't find them. But or you can email me at amber@41creativeenterprises.com. I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody has.
Love that. No, thank you so much, Amber. And last thing here. Let's see if there's anything else I wanted to cover. No, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and bring it to a close. Guys, that wraps up today's episode. Loved having y'all here. Your next step is to head on over to virtualwholesalingmadesimple.com, join our amazing community, and get your chance to book a strategy session and apply to work personally with me one-on-one. I look forward to seeing you on the next show and my next amazing guest. Talk soon, guys.
Bye.
That wraps up today's episode. Your next step is to head on over to virtualwholesalingmadesimple.com. Join our community and get your chance to book a strategy session and apply to work personally with one of our coaches. We look forward to seeing you on the next show with our next amazing guest. Talk soon.